You are listening to the USDN on the DFPN.
It's a trap!
Hang on. I swear to God, I'm coming. I'll be right there. For some reason, everything didn't want to share properly. All right. Hello there, everybody. And welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. Today, we are spotlighting a creator who isn't just launching a comic. He is building a universe rooted in representation, culture, and identity. Nathan Rouse, also known as Mr. Unchained Unlimited, is the creator behind JUPITERMAN and the expanded Idolverse, a world designed to ensure every reader can see themselves as the hero. This is a conversation about legacy, inclusivity, and building something that matters. The Council of Nerds is now in session. Nathan, welcome to the council.
What's good? I appreciate you so much for having me. This is about to be a good one. This is going to be a good one.
Dude, I've been excited about this since you emailed me, and you were very direct. You were very upfront. You provided the comics, which was amazing. And I was like, dude, he made it so easy for me. And there's nothing better in life than somebody making it easier for you to schedule with them, read the material, and put together a great interview to talk about your work, man.
Thank you for making it easy. I was supposed to be on another podcast a couple of days ago called Comics for All, and that fell through. And then, you came through with the save, and that was an amazing thing. And I'm so glad that you read it and loved it. I've gotten a lot of, good feedback on the book so far. And, you saying that you loved it just amplifies that.
Dude, it really was. And so for those who are discovering you for the first time tonight, who is Nathan? And did I say your last name correct?
Rouse, yes.
Perfect. Nailed it.
Small time kid from Hyattsville, Maryland. I went to Northwestern High School where I played ball. I played ball for a while. I wasn't in comic books. I've only been in comic books for 2 years. Been writing all my life, loved poetry, loved reading, movies, TV shows. That's where my inspiration comes from. But I played football for a very long time, and from out of Northwestern, where I played in high school, I went to Bethany College in West Virginia and played for a while.
Okay.
And, the whole concept for JUPITERMAN came one day when it was a summer. It was a summer I was on campus and I was watching Justice League Unlimited. And
ooh, nice one.
Yep. And then I was like, wow, what if I mix Native American culture with, one of my favorite anti-heroes or villains, Black Adam? And then that's where I was like, wow. And then
so
from there,
when I seen JUPITERMAN at first, my first thought was like, this is Native American Black Adam. And I was like, and I didn't want to like imply it. That's why I almost messaged you. I was like, I kind of want to message him, but then no, I'm like, let's save it. Let's save that.
No, that was great. No, that was really awesome. No, I was watching. So I got it where I watched Justice League Unlimited, but right before that, I watched Superman and Shazam when they took on Black Adam. And
when Black Adam handed Superman that ass whipping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, what if I mix the two together and come out with something original? And I, Greek gods are always being used. So I was like, what if I switched it up a little bit? And then I went, Roman gods. And then it grew from there. So let me tell you the original. So the original plan behind Jupiter Man. So the first 2 episodes that
was
see.
actually the very next question. So roll with it, dude. Let's do it.
So before Jupiter Man was ever even created, I created this superhero called Defiance. It was about a African American astronaut that ventures off into space, and then his soul merges with a star, and then he becomes like this Silver Surfer type character. Ooh. Then 3,000 years later, he goes back to Earth to see that everything that he left behind is gone, and then it's like he has to protect the world.
Where's that one at?
I sold it.
Oh.
I wind up selling that character to some French comic book company for $1,000.
Dude, that would have been so dope. I hope they did something good with it.
Oh, they changed them. They changed his whole everything. They changed his backstory. Like, you're not gonna find Defiance anywhere.
I hate to hear that, but yeah, hey, glad you got to make $1,000 off of it.
Yeah, for sure. I tried to do it again. So that's where Jupiter Man comes in. I created the concept for Jupiter Man, the original backstory. I was like, oh man, let me go and try and sell this again. I'm a college kid, low on cash. Let's see if I can get another $1,000. So then I meet this comic book creator. I'm not gonna say his name because there's bad blood there, but he says, I'm gonna help you put this character together instead of paying you, because why sell it to somebody that can make millions of dollars off of it when you can have a comic book? So he helps me put it together. But then he starts to do a lot of weird things with the backstory. He's throwing a lot of different characters into it. It's not really working out. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna, go my own way, and I'm gonna try and do it myself, because this is before, I've never written a script before. I didn't know the first thing about, comic books or anything. I didn't read a lot of them, but I've always wrote stuff. And then he said, "Oh, I'm gonna sue you." I was like, okay, have fun with that. I'm gonna take my character though, and try to build this comic book. And so day in, day out, I'm studying how to write scripts. Like I'm falling out with artists because this artist didn't finish the original project, and I had to find a different artist. And then I wind up finding the artist for Jupiter Man that I'm working with currently, Jeffrey Slies and Tizon. He is like the dopest artist that I've seen. He does all the work on it, the pencils, the inks, the colors, the letters. Man, awesome guy. And then we came out with Jupiter Man, and it's about a Native American man that is manipulated by the government to be a superhero. The first 2 episodes that you see, or really the first episode that you see, is basically the entire simulation. It is the simulation that is embedded in his mind. You're seeing like everything that he believes to be real is what you see in the first episode. Like,
gotcha.
Bovias, the evil alien that's supposed to be taking him, taken down. His backstory is him being like this distant tribalman that's been exiled from his tribe. Everything that you see is like something that the government is implanting.
Dude, that adds another layer to it, and it's so good because I didn't realize that.
Oh yes, yep. And then in the second one, in the second episode, when you see like him talking to the president, and then you see the general and all these other aspects, it's like, wait, what's happening? I thought we were on like this mythical journey. Yeah. It becomes something completely different as the story.
So how about his life as the small town cop? Is that real?
Okay, so there are pieces and sections of it that are mythic in nature, but are also being manipulated. So there are certain characters that you're going to see that he might come into contact with and talk to that have also been placed. So him as the sheriff, obviously we have to make certain things look real. So we're going to create this town, and we're going to allow him to be the sheriff there. Put a couple of things there so that he'll have to figure out for himself. But ultimately, it's being manipulated. So him as a sheriff is real, but it's also not.
Dude, that's just another. It's like a phenomenally amazing like layer on top of this story. Because like the reader, if you don't know, is going to be like, oh, he's a small town sheriff now. He's like this immortal being because he got these powers from these gods. So, dude, no, that's actually that's pretty fucking slick, dude.
Yeah, it took some, which is crazy because I owe it to my brother Elijah. We were talking about it for a while, and when he first read the first episode, he was like, "I mean, this is cool, you know. I feel like this is something I've read before, and it's like, I don't know, it's like not something that's really speaking to me." And I thought about it a lot, and this was before we wound up building the Idolverse. You know, this is just going to be a book, and then I was like, how can I make it? How can I make it more expansive, better? Because the point of the Outerverse is basically to explore everything. This is to explore conspiracy theories, sci-fi, romance, philosophical nature, everything encompassing. The question that you ask when you walk into the Outerverse is, what if everybody is right? What if every religion is real? What if every thought process is connected? And so I really wanted to explore that in, you know, Jupiter's nature, you know, because, and I have no problem saying this because I was talking to my girlfriend about it. She was like, don't give too much away. And I was like, whatever I give away is far less than what they're going to see in the book because it's like so many things connected to it. But it's like JUPITERMAN Wahali, he is a spirit walker. And what the government doesn't know is that when they mix the MDT is like a special drug for like people in the Idolverse that basically are, you know, mutants or they have special abilities.
Okay.
It's something that's been interceded throughout the US for a long period of time through experimentation and such. So he was kidnapped as a child and he was injected with MDT. But what the government does not know is that he's also a spirit walker. So his natural deviant ability was mixed with the MDT drug to create the God cell, which is the power, which is his blood, but it's the powers that manifested from the connection, which is why he has so much strength and speed and he can utilize everything because he's not only connected to the spirit world, but there's a sci-fi aspect with this blood that's actually created from aliens' blood. That you're going to find out, you know, in within this series. So there's a lot.
It's a lot to unpack, but dude, it's phenomenal. Like it has, you know, you got the X-Men vibe there, but you also have this really cool that what could be this fantastic underlying sci-fi saga mixed into it. And dude, I'm telling you, and everybody else listening out there, the books are phenomenal. Like they were such good reads, and everything that he just said, there's small context clues in it, but not enough to give you what he just gave you. Like the whole first book, you honestly believe that this individual was gifted his powers from these Roman gods. Like, and you believe it. It's 100% believable. There's some context clues, but they're very vague context clues to what he just said within book 2. But like, you are not going to decipher it just from reading the books unless he just told you what he just told you. And I'm sure once number 3 comes out and 4 eventually, that what you just said will make plenty more sense. And I'm here for every single bit of it.
100%. We're working on the third book now. I don't know if I sent you some sneak peeks. Everybody that, you know, checked out the first.
You did. No, you didn't. I didn't get sneak peeks on this one. I just got 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then you sent me
some sneak
the video too.
Yep, I'm gonna send you some sneak peeks of the third.
All right, bet.
Because we're working with a new artist on this one because I wanted more of a Saturday morning cartoon feel. The first 2 did Jeff did an amazing job, but he's working on he's currently working on the first episode of another character that I'm putting down. But I wanted a different feel. I wanted JUPITERMAN to be a little bit more bulky and, you know, swole for the next episode installment. And it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
So is the next character also going to be a part of this Idolverse that you're building?
Yes, 100%. All the stories, the great thing is all the stories are interconnected. They're all happening at the same time because they're leading to a story. considering actually, do you know who Hancock is?
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. I seen the work you were doing on it. And if
Yeah.
you're gonna follow that sort of timeline and that sort of universe, then
Yep.
dude,
Everything
fucking
that you
for
see
dude.
is leading up to that book, One for All.
Okay.
It's where John Hancock has to save the world by building a team of superheroes. And the world is in shambles because of the battle that Jupiter Man has with Vice. So that is going to be crazy.
Dude. No, the moment I seen the Hancock artwork on your Instagram, I was like, dude, if he is building up to this, then it is going to be amazing. Because I don't think the actual movie of Hancock gave the actual story of Hancock justice.
No. And what's so crazy is I actually gave him a backstory. So you're going to get the backstory in that book.
Well, they teased the backstory in the movie.
They did, but I couldn't use
Charlie Theron.
Right. But I actually couldn't use that. So yeah. So the way that it works is I had to create a character basically based on the original movie character. That's the only way it would work, because I actually wound up getting my version not only trademarked but his original story copywritten, which was a blessing.
Yeah, no kidding. Was his IP just out in the wild? Or was his IP owned by somebody else?
I mean, well, not now. The original IP, the movie, is owned by whoever created the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
But I was able to, recreate the suit, little minor details having to do with his insignia.
Yeah.
And switch the story up. But I have a John Hancock in my universe, which is pretty freaking sweet.
Dude, that's going to be sweet, dude. I knew the moment I seen it, I was like, dude, if he's building to a universe to that degree where Hancock is in it, because, again, that movie was amazing, and I felt like there was so much left on the table there.
Yep.
So for you to be able to pick it up and kind of, okay, we're going to start the story here, though, build to Hancock, and then go past it, dude. Yep. That's what's up, dude. I love that, every bit of it.
I am super excited for it. I'm working really hard. That book is also in production. I'm working on a lot of stuff at once. And yeah. So I actually got a pretty, like, pencil and ink for the One for All story alone. I got a pretty good chunk of it done, and I'm working on it sparingly. But but back to Jupiter Man. Super excited for the third to come out, because the third is going to include the first introduction to Nemesis, which is I was always thinking of an interesting way to introduce villains without always having to go like in depth and backstory and having to do this big buildup. So I came up with an organization called Nemesis, and Nemesis basically commissions villains to like do different offhand jobs like contractors. So I can always have like a steady rotation of a rogue gallery into the universe. So you're going to get the first shot at Nemesis in the third episode.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which, you're a busy man, obviously. Which brings us to your nickname, Mr. Unchained Unlimited. What does that represent creatively for you?
Oh, well,
how did this name come about?
Yeah, let me tell you a story about the name. I was watching Baki one day, and there was this character that came across the screen. It was late at night. I was watching Baki at like 2 a.m.
As you should be. That's like the perfect thing for 2 a.m.
For sure. And Biscuit Oliver came across the screen, and he was the baddest guy on the screen. Like, he flicked the dude across the room, and he picked his big wife on his back and carried her across. I was like, who is this guy? And they called him Mr. Unchained. And I was like, whoo, that's a cold name. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man, what would my pen name be? Because this is before I really started, writing anything seriously. And I was like, what if I called myself Mr. Unchained? And actually, this is before I started writing. Like, I wanted, because, a lot of different football players come up with alter egos. Brian Dawkins was Weapon X, and, the list goes on. And I was like,
we got Megatron in there.
Right,
Come
Megatron,
on.
Yeah.
That name itself was just cold.
Right. Bo Jackson was Jason Voorhees. I was like, what is going on? I want to come.
I think I have that baseball card, actually.
That's funny. And I was like, what if I went by Mr. Unchained? And then when I started writing, I added the unlimited
Mhm.
because my imagination is ridiculous. Like I can't stop. Like I can't walk down the stairs without thinking about, what if each step guided me into a different dimension? I'm just
Yeah.
my mind is just wired to keep going. I can't watch anything or do anything or read anything without thinking about 10 different ways a story can be told. And then I was like,
Mhm.
unlimited. And then I put the two together and I was like, become Mr. Unchained Unlimited. The man that opens portals, the guy that thinks with an unbounded mind. So that's kind of how I, came up with the nickname.
Oh, dude, I like it. And everything you're saying with what you're doing in your comic book verse, it all comes together and it all makes sense where and how you're doing everything. And dude, the moment I seen Hancock on your Instagram, I was just like, all right, dude, I'm invested now. I'm invested. I'm a partner. Let's do it.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to do different things. There's the age of AI and things that we're in.
Mhm.
We get a lot. Me and my brother get a lot of. I would say we get a lot of backlash. Now I'm not going to say hate, and I don't think there's any reason for us to be hated or people to be jealous of us. But
Yeah.
we're in an age right now where a lot of things are popping up, a lot of fear is being had, and me
Mhm.
and my brother are just trying to figure out a way to build what we have going on with the limited resources that we have, and grow as much as we can. I help a lot of people out when it comes to writing, when it comes to creating, putting their stories together, and I just want to be able to do that in peace, but also elevate. Like I can't pay $1,000 a second for animation.
Dude, yeah.
But what I can do is teach myself how different people are doing it with Sora or whatnot, and put like a cool trailer together, to put
Yeah.
an idea out there, for people
And
to
see, and this is where I don't have a problem with AI because you're taking your product,
right,
you're putting it into an AI to generate something for your product.
right,
It's not like you're stealing somebody else's and sticking it in the machine
yeah,
to teach it to do your product. You're not doing that. It's like a lot of our logos and stuff. We took our original logo and we just tell the AI to like, hey, give it the Christmas theme.
right,
And that's what it does.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm not doing anything with it. It's just I'm taking what I already own and
Right.
giving it a new twist.
And I think it gives, the Idolverse a certain, I personally think it gives us a certain professional look. Like,
Yeah.
like to the
No.
to the offhand person that views our stuff, they're like, man, how are you guys
But
doing?
you're not doing it to your comic book.
You know
what I'm saying?
Yes.
You have an artist, you're paying an artist
Right.
to do your comic book. The art is your artist's. His
Right.
name is on the cover next to yours.
Yep.
You're using it to create the animations to promote your book.
Exactly.
There's a clean distinction there that needs to be pointed out.
Yeah. And in its entirety, I personally don't consider, like, there have been many people that I've come across and talked to about it. And there was a guy that I talked to, not even a couple of days ago, and he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about ways on like creating a book using like this AI program. And I was like, I don't hate on the fact that you're doing that.
Yeah.
But I can't, like, I personally could never, like, I don't want to
I
consider.
couldn't do that because as somebody who is in the process of
Right.
creating a book himself,
Mm,
and I have my artist already picked out. He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of the podcast. Somebody I have a whole lot of respect for,
right.
who provides inputs, who tells me if an idea sucks,
Right.
who
Right,
shoots me good ideas, and I'm like, ooh, I like that even better. And so from artistic standpoint and what's going to happen within my own personal comic book,
Mhm.
is all human,
Right.
100% all human. And now I know people who do actual animation. That's like their job,
Right.
which is really weird because I met him because he made a comic book and he's been on the podcast. But my plan is once I'm to that level to where I'm ready to reach out and go, hey, can you animate me a 30-second short to promote this with my characters? You know, and I'm like, I will pay his team to do it or pay him to do it. So it's kind of wild now that I do know somebody. So if you want to get in touch with him, let me know and I'll put you in touch with him. I don't know how that works for his side of the house, but I do know, like, because he sent me some of his team's work, like their Christmas animation they did. Dude, it was freaking beautiful. Like,
there's a lot of different people that I've seen. Some of the people that I've been in contact with use spoof animations, and there's been different animation companies that I've talked to, and then they'll hit me with their quote, and I'm like,
yeah. I think Lloyd, who was on last night, he's taught himself to do some animation as well.
Okay, that's dope.
So you could reach out to him and see what he's using and see how he does it as well.
The thing about it is, I personally don't consider AI I don't consider it to be art. Like, I feel art, the beauty of art and the talent of it,
it's the human behind it.
It's not only the small, like, soulful imperfections of it, but it's also the steady hand. Oh, what is going on here? It's also the steady hand that it takes like years to master and learn. I could never think that something that, you know, that can generate something in a few seconds, I could never consider it art personally to me.
Same.
Like, I could never do that. But as far as the promotion, and especially with JUPITERMAN, I've been able to make some dope trailers. He has a theme song now, a theme song that goes with the books. You know, and I feel that there is a place. There's a place. It's not necessarily in the books at all. Like,
I'm a firm believer that AI will not touch my book. At all. But from another perspective, if you're using it to create a design or a logo, if you're using Canva, because Canva has a thing on ChatGPT where ChatGPT will help you with certain things on Canva, which I've used before, and it just helped me like clean up some products that I was using to make thumbnails.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't have an issue with that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because I'm not using it to create anything to trying to take jobs from people. However, I don't have $100 to throw at somebody every time I want to redesign something or create a thumbnail.
I definitely use it in our process. So when we were originally creating some of the characters that went into the book, I actually wanted to talk to you about. We have this thing in the Idolverse called character spotlights, which I think is really cool. So I don't know if you read all the way through the second episode because
cover to cover.
Okay, so did you read the short call? Okay, So there is something that we do called character spotlights in the Idolverse where we bring you in to the Idolverse. So,
that was one of my favorite things, dude. And I love when books do that. Because it reminds me of the old school stuff from back in the 90s when they would do that. You would get to the end of the comic book and they'd have a full character breakdown of somebody.
Right.
Their powers, their abilities, their height, their weight, their love interest, their favorite color, their favorite music, and all that would just be wrapped up with the character. And I always thought that was really cool that they did that.
There's something that I saw in the older comics that I had, the old Marvel stuff. There's also something that I saw on TikTok. I think it's called Dial H for Hero. I didn't get this idea from that, but when I found out that that Marvel was doing it, that like you could create your own character and then send it in, and then they might be able to put it in the book. I didn't know that at the time, but when I found that out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this. But in the character spotlights, if you send us a picture like of your likeness and everything, then you can work with me, and then we can create a character and see if we can get it into the book.
That's some of my favorite things to see people do too, is like when they have that level of the Kickstarter, or that like, hey, if you donate this much, we will include you in the comic book. Right. Don't get me wrong, I want to support your product, but that's usually above my pay grade on that one. However, I will kick in like an extra $10 to get my name in the back of the book because I want a way to promote the podcast. So I will put the USDN chairman in the back of the comic book, or I will put the USDN podcast because when people get the book and they're looking at the back to try to find their names, I want them to see that and go like, ooh, what's that? And then go and look, you know.
Well, if I'm being honest with you, a lot of the characters that have been, you know, in the book so far, especially my friends, they haven't had to pay anything. And you put me on your podcast. So if you want to be a character in the Idolverse, you just let me know.
Hey, you just throw in a big old bearded guy, man. That's all I need.
Whatever.
Big old gray bearded guy, and I'm good, man. That would be pretty dope.
But yeah, like my one of my friends, like the guy Homestead that you saw in the book.
Yeah.
That is like one of my football buddies that wanted like a Homelander type character. And then you got the Rock in there, Braven in it, you know.
Dude, I was surprised when I got to the end of it and I seen that, and I was like, this whole additional story that was in the back of the book, I was like, oh, I love when they do this kind of stuff, because God, what's his name? Give me just a second. Because he does Dark Pink Comics, and
Pink.
Oh, come on, you're gonna be slow on me.
those
Christopher Ford.
Ford, right?
From Dark Pink Comics. He had, like, he put out one of the largest, quickly funded Kickstarters to ever. You know, I forgot how much money he made, like, in the beginning, and people wanting to be in the comic book. So he had to end up going back and creating short stories.
Wow.
In order to include people that paid to be in the comic book. So he was literally making like these like short stories for people.
That's cool.
As additions, because so many people were interested in that, which is really cool.
What I try to do is I try to like Homestead is like a big part of the plot in JUPITERMAN's book. So what I try to do is, depending on what book, you know, I'm working on at the time, I really try to like make you an integral piece. Like, you're gonna see a lot more of Homestead, which is crazy because these books become famous. He's gonna be like, hey, my character's in there, so can I get a little something for that? But yeah, like I try to make a big, I want to create a universe filled with fans. That's low key the dream.
Dude, that would be so clean though. Just like, these characters are your friends, your family, people you've met, and people that had some type of influence on you throughout your lifetime, you know. And I think that's really dope to try to do. Right. And like, it's definitely different. And that's why it's appealing about that.
That's the inclusive piece of it. Like the thing that kind of hit me a little bit when it came to like starting to create my own comics, and you know how I thought about putting the Idolverse together, I was like, everybody was counting down to how many days it had been, you know, since an African American character was, you know, had their own solo run, or this character or this different ethnicity or that, and I was like, you know, Marvel and DC don't really have an obligation to do that. They don't. And I was like, but it would be so cool if they did. So that's why I was like, what if I could, you know, slowly build a universe where everybody could see themselves in whatever character was flying across the sky? Like, I don't necessarily need to start with an African-American superhero, because I'm the creator. But to create a dope Native American Superman-like guy that isn't wearing the feathers, that it doesn't have all the regalia on, but he represents something and it's a part of his heritage, I feel would be would be the coolest thing.
And dude, that's what pulled me into it, is that he is Native American, and he isn't being like, his culture isn't being like exposed in that kind of way.
Right.
You know? So that's really like a plus. It's just, he's Native American. Yes, he's a superhero. If you just picked up book 2, you would not necessarily know he was Native American.
Right. Yep. Which is what I really wanted. Which is what I really wanted it to be. Like I felt like, I mean, when Superman was originally created, I don't think they ever expressed, you know, the religion, you know, what he represented, or if he was Jewish or not. But there were always those hints or notes there, especially what he fought for at the time. but I kind of wanted that's actually what kind of inspired me a little bit when pushing forward, you know, how JUPITERMAN was going to be represented. It was like I want that to be a part of his culture, his heritage, and there definitely going to be elements of that spirit walking and, you know, loving the
I mean,
land.
I'm really interested in that part of it.
Yeah,
Is when he kind of like discovers that, because I don't think he's discovered that yet, has he?
nope. Nope.
Yeah.
He thinks he has through like the manipulations and whatnot, but no, he's not really. That's what's going to be that's really going to be explored in later issues when things really get heated. But right now I'm working on like the simulation slowly cracking, which is why I can't wait to send you those sneak peeks later.
Bet.
Yeah.
I'm down, dude. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
The what made you decide to build a whole universe instead of just like these single character issues? You know what I'm saying? Like these like one shot issues, like you see so many other artists doing. Build a universe or one shots,
Right. In the words,
or maybe a 4 comic run of a character or something.
in the words of the great DJ Jazzy Jeff, die empty. You gotta die empty. I can't, for whatever reason, my mind can't do one shots. I can't do one-off stories. Like there are pieces of me that are going to create like me, my journey. I want to create 100 books. As a writer, I feel like that substantiates myself. If I make 100 books, then I have a long-standing body of work. And if I'm an 80-year-old man with an attic filled of books that I wrote, then I accomplished something. But there's so many different ideas and thoughts and stories that run through my mind. I can't stop. And I really want to try and stop myself, but I can't. So I want to create as much as possible. Storylines might be muddled. Stuff might come out before other stuff. And I'm only one guy. And I hope the people that read my books understands that. But I want to create something that's awesome. And I want to create something that somebody, like there's so many creators. There are mentors that I have right now that have created books back in the 90s or back in the early 2000s, and they don't create books anymore. Like 6 books. And I'm like, bro, this is amazing work. Why aren't you continuing this? And they don't continue the books. And I'm like,
burnout is real, dude.
Who's going to remember this? I just don't want. I feel like even if I wasn't to create a long body of work and I was to create a bunch of interconnecting books, that's still a universe base. That's somewhere to start. But creating 6 issues of one character and then stopping after a long period of time, I just feel like
it depends though. Did they have a beginning, a middle, and an ending? Or was it just like they got to 6 and they were like, yeah, I'm just kind of done with this?
They got to 6. No, he still creates today. I'm gonna have no problem saying his name because we're still good and in good standing. His name is Vince White, creator of the Powerverse. Amazing mind. Actually, my brother E compares me to him a lot because our brains just keep going. Like we just keep creating different things. And he's created so far, I think, like 6. He's created 6 issues of Willpower. And I'm waiting on the 7th and the 8th, and he hasn't created anything new, or at least he's not promoting anything new. And he hasn't told me about anything new. And I'm like, man, like I would hate for something to happen to you and there's nobody to continue your work because it's amazing. It could be something that's on any comic book shelf, any bookstore shelf, anywhere. And yeah, it hits me in a special place. Like when people create great stuff and then it possibly fades into obscurity, I just feel like it shouldn't be that way.
Well, how do you feel about some of the modern day guys and some of the stories that they are doing? Take, for instance, James Tynion. Like his Something is Killing the Children, The House of Slaughter, Book of Butcher. Something is Killing the Children was just picked up for TV.
Right.
And then I think several of his other stories have also been picked up for either movies or, animations and that kind of stuff. Like all of a sudden, like his work is like about to be all over streaming networks, Netflix, Amazon. Like, how do you feel about that when it comes to, because I mean, he's in his hands are into so much stuff.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like, boom, TV is calling and
Hey,
movies are calling.
that's the great thing about creating, man. Like you said, his hands are in so many things. And I'm not the most knowledgeable in his work. Like I've heard of like his different projects, but to create so many different things and then for a studio to actually take interest and then build on those things, it's like that's the dream.
And not just one project. He had multiple projects at one time. It feels like within like a few weeks or months of each other, get picked up for some type of syndication.
And I think, that's the goal. I mean, that's the objective.
When you look at it, though, like The Walking Dead was that way. It started out as a comic book. Invincible,
right?
And it is, to me, it's always cool, right? Like I read that,
and
like
then
this
big thing, this bigger than life thing.
Yeah, like I still to this day, like I don't. My daughter loves to watch Invincible. It's one of her favorite shows. I cannot watch it because I know the book, and the book to me is 100 times better.
Right. Yeah. Which is so crazy because my brother Elijah read like the big omnibus of it, and he finished it, and he was like, the series just doesn't hit the same. And
it doesn't. See, that's my point right there. You read that first omnibus, and my daughter has I think it's 5 omnibuses, I think.
Right.
And like she read that first one and she's like, damn, I see what you were talking about. She's like, it doesn't hit the same. So now she's holding off reading everything so she can watch it. And then we go back and read like the next omnibus of it. Because I just got her the whole thing at once because we found them at a secondhand bookstore for half the price. So I was like, let's just pick them all up right now while they have every single one. Just grab them.
That's awesome. That is the objective. That is the goal, to build up as many books as possible. And then, hey, maybe one day somebody sees Jupiter Man and is like, yo, this would be a dope Saturday morning cartoon. Like I grew up on Brave Star. I grew up on He-Man. I grew up on all the great 80s cartoons. And to have something like that for I'm not even trying to get live action. Like cartoons is it for me. Like if
I kind of figured that one. And I love that one cover that you sent me of you and all your characters around you. Dude, I thought that was like so dope. I was like, because it felt like because I've seen it done by Stan Lee, George Lucas with his Star Wars characters. I've seen it done with him. And then I was like, dude, this is like the coolest homage ever. And what was crazy about it is you haven't even seen those characters yet in the book.
No.
So it's like this perfect tease because I'm sitting there looking at it and I'm like, I know like 5 of these characters. I'm like, there's some good shit coming.
Yes, for sure. Like there's Sir Absolute in there, who's my freaking wrestling superstar. Like he's my ode to 80s wrestling, and he's in there. Hancock is in it. My brother's character Morai is in it. Brave is in it. Like there's so many, and which is so crazy is majority of those characters are all based off of friends of mine. So like it's like me, there's a female character called Aegis. That's my girlfriend's character, and she's in it. And it's like, yeah, it feels good. It's very surreal to see everything that I've created in one place like that close to me. It's like Stan Lee. One thing that I felt is missing from comic books, even to this day, is back when Stan Lee was doing his thing, running and gunning with Marvel, he was a superhero in his own right. Like, all the writers and artists they all had nicknames. Like, you knew who was drawing the book. That's what made you, or you knew who was writing it, and that's what made you go to the comic book store. I don't think we have that anymore. Like,
I will disagree with that.
Really?
Because I think we have our own modern day rock stars. Because I mean, you have people like Todd McFarlane, you have the Capullos, the Jim Lees of the world, the Daniel Warren Johnsons of the world, the David Nakayamas, the James Tinians, and that list could go on and on and on. And these guys,
in terms of like our own, like in our own comic book medium, of course, we all know those names. But if you walk to the random guy on the street and say Stan the Man, 9 times out of 10, they'll know who Lee is,
A different time because comic books were being born.
Right.
at that time, and these
Right.
guys became rock stars, and they were shoveling out stuff in the masses for 10 cents an
Right.
issue.
Yeah.
So, and it's one of those where you have to go, okay, different time, different situations. Comic books were looked at as a getaway from what the world was going through at
True.
that time.
Very true. And that's
But
kind of what I want. That's kind of what I want the Idolverse to be too. I kind of feel like the surrealism, like the mythic adventure of comic books is missing, at least for me. Like
okay,
there's a piece of like an otherworldliness. Like when you open the book, it kind of felt like the world was coming out at you.
yeah.
And I don't know. I really did feel that way back
If
when
you
I
want to feel that, you
yeah.
have to dive into the indie world.
Yes, I would say
You're
that.
not going to get that with Marvel. You're not going to get that with DC because these stories have all been recycled multiple of times outside of what DC is currently doing with DCKO and the absolute universe that they have built. But if you really want to feel like you're being immersed into something new, fresh, and different, you have to look to like the Boom Studios, the Image Comics, the Dynamite Comics, Mad Cave, Bad Idea, you know. And to me, those guys right now, the Keen Spot, Zenscope, I mean, Ani Press, they
Right.
have Rick and Morty. Well, Rick and Morty just retired in December, which, you know, hopefully somebody else will maybe pick that comic book up and start running with it again.
Right.
Maybe not. Who knows? I kind of hope it don't because all my Rick and Mortys are going to shoot up in value, and I kind of want that. For being selfish there, but my Pickle Rick #1 is going to like skadoodle up. You know what I'm saying?
No skyrocket.
But I really do think what you're saying is born right now, and being born every day as we speak.
Right.
Those universes are being created by a guy like you, by a guy like Lloyd last night, by a guy like, you know, Matt, who's going to be on the show on the 26th, the Bruno Catarinos of the world, the Nicholas Keaton Kasparos of the world, who does the Vitellarium series.
Right.
And shout out, he just dropped the name of his second book. Can't wait to get my hands on that book, my dude. But everything you just said is why we're here right now.
Right.
Is to promote and highlight guys like you and put the spotlight on guys like you who are creating these amazing universes.
Right.
And I'm glad you said that, dude, because I just like, it's there. It's just, it's not where people are looking. It's not in mainstream. It's not in Marvel. It's not in DC. You have to take a step away from them. Give yourself that 20-foot view of the comic rack on New Comic Book Day
100%.
and go, ooh, that looks cool right there. Let me grab that. I'm like, who does this book? Bad Idea? What the hell is Bad Idea Comics? Oh, Bad Idea Comics is a phenomenal indie press. And they have some really cool stuff out on the shelves right now. But it's taking that 25-foot look at the comic book rack now. And you're going to find it tough.
I think the thing that kind of differs the Idolverse from a lot of comic book companies that are coming out now, even, you know, from the sake of Image or Boom Studios or whoever else, is, well, I want to say this one thing. Cartoons today, in my opinion, are not what they used to be.
100% not.
100%. The cartoons that we grew up with, the Ben 10, the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, even all the way back with Brave Star and He-Man and all of those great cartoons are not what it's not the same. Which is why I think that we differ even from our counterparts, Concrete or Midnight Comics or even 615. We're vibrant, we're bright. Our plots are, you know, easy for both kids from, you know, 8 all the way up to 15, 18. Like, you can get the message and you can enjoy it, and it's fun, it's energetic, it's entertaining. I feel that it's something that a lot of kids can grow up with, and also come out with it learning something, which is what I really wanted it to be.
I see what you're saying with that. Yeah, because I mean, he is learning important lessons as he goes in this, and you get those, especially in issue 1. You got those old like 80s cartoon vibes. Like the only thing that I was waiting for was to pop out was like the rainbow to come across the screen. The more you know.
That's hilarious.
You got to do one of those now. You got to do that at least once. Just a small panel, like a corner panel. The more you know.
The more. That's funny. But yeah, man. Yeah. And I wanted it to be vibrant. I wanted it to be bright. All of our covers, I wanted it to be in your face, like you're turning on. That's why our logo is a freaking TV. Like we are the Idol.
We can show one of the covers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This is probably my favorite one right here. Let me do a little present screen. Here we go. Boom.
Yeah, that's the one.
See, that's the one I was like, oh, like this is a Native American Black Adam.
Yeah, man. That's JUPITERMAN. Funny enough, I got some inspiration of this. Where did I get inspiration from this? This is actually inspiration from a Superman cover that I saw on Pinterest, and I was like, let's flip this around, add some lightning specs, put JUPITERMAN in there. Funny, one of the background. So I don't want to get. This is one thing I don't want to give away.
No, don't give away spoilers unless you want to, because once it's out there, it's out there.
I think I'm gonna let it go. And there are undertones. Okay.
Here's your other one. I really like this one too.
Yes,
the purples and the blue and the pink.
This is JUPITERMAN in the spirit world, quote unquote. But yeah, man, like this, I wanted to be vibrant. I wanted to be something that if you walked into a comic book store and you saw it like next to your Superman or Batman, and it's like, yeah, what is this? I don't know if you're gonna buy it, but I at least want you to pick it up.
No, and you gotta think though, a lot of people when they walk in the comic book store, the first thing they look at is the cover. Right. Does that cover jump out at you? Right. I can't tell you the number of some of my favorite reads I've have is because I seen the cover and was just like, what the hell is that? What is that? Let me get that. Let me get that. And then it turns out to just be this fantastic reading. That's actually how I discovered Tinian to begin with, was the Department of Truth. Right. And then later on, when he did some stuff for it's Vertigo again, but it was DC Dark or Black Label, when he did The Last House by the Lake or The Nice House by the Lake. And it was just like this dark like story, and I was like the Nice House by the Lake was the cover with the guy in the bathtub floating in body parts in the bathtub, and I was just like, holy shit, that's a wild cover. I might check out some books. They sound really good. And I was just like, that's insane that's a cover. And I was just getting back into comics at the time with my daughter. And I was just like, ooh, I like this. I like conspiracy theories. That's what led me to the Department of Truth. And, it's covers say a lot. If the cover jumps out, people are going to pick it up. If they pick it up, they're going to flip pages. Right. So, and that's your ultimate seller right there, is to have these covers that evoke some type of emotion and make people want to pick it up.
And it took some time. It really did take some time. I can't tell you how many different times I've had to go back to Jeff and be like, hey, Jeff, I just switched up the way that I did the branding for the cover. Could you go back to the PDF and switch it around? Like there's been so many times down to our names being static. I switched the logo a couple of times. Like the JUPITERMAN logo has been switched. Our borders are supposed to be like TV screen like borders at the bottom. It's like so many different things, and I finally found something that I'm pleased with. The fact that it looks like an actual Saturday morning cutscene where it's like, we'll be back. Or so I'm proud of it. Super proud.
Dude, no, you should be, dude. You've earned that right to be proud of this product, dude, because it is a fantastic read, a fantastic story. Character development is amazing. And like I said earlier in the show, when you were describing how the world is actually working, you're not getting that until probably like what, issue 3 or issue 4, and there's only 2 issues out right now.
Issue 3, it blows up issue 3 for sure.
So yeah, so like when I read it, I'm thinking like this whole thing is real.
Right.
You know, I'm thinking these gods gave him powers, and you know, he's a real cop in this real small town, and he really has this girl in prison, and now you're telling me like, oh, ain't none of that shit real.
Oh,
well,
like,
it's real.
The girl is real.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. At least his girl is real.
Yeah, the girl is real.
All right. So I was like, man, don't do it that dirty.
Oh, so what I wanted to tell you is there are undertones of the story of Moses in his story.
Okay. I have to go back and look at that, because that should have jumped out a little bit more.
Moses is my favorite biblical tale. And you're not gonna really see it in the first 2, but as the story moves on, it's gonna be like, oh, I see what you did there. But there are some,
I was just saying, because I didn't really see anything in issue 1 or 2 that gave me that kind of like feel, you know.
Yep. But as the story moves on, just because there was one which is so funny, there's if you ever scroll back through my Instagram, there is a picture, one of the first covers that I upload, and then it's the "Deliver Us" song from Prince of Egypt as the song that like introduces the cover, and it's because his backstory is kind of tagged to that loss almost.
Gotcha.
He doesn't know who he really is, you know, thinking that he's these ethereal superhero, and then finding out he comes from like really humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And he's like supposed to be like this savior for far more than, you know, Native American people, you know, the oppressed, and, you know, the people that really are downtrodden. And you see that throughout his, you know, his story.
No, you have my love and respect on this one, dude, because it is such a fun and enjoyable read. Now, I got to ask you, what does success look like to you beyond your sales numbers and beyond the dollar value on this?
Man, creating a community. That's why I wanted to get on this podcast. That's why I'm giving out for free to as many hands as possible. You won't have to pay for the third, but I'm giving it out.
Hey,
the second.
Let me know, dude. Let me know.
But
are you going to Kickstarter the third?
Everything is I have come up with my own rule. I will only be doing Kickstarters once the books are done.
Okay.
That is my number 1 rule, because after that, it's about getting you guys cool stuff. Like, I'm not like a big pin and stickers guy, but getting you stuff like posters. If I can do t-shirts, then we'll do t-shirts. We'll do art I work with a lot of amazing artists, so I'm trying to get all that cool stuff out to you guys. Plus cameos, because I'm a big cameo guy. So
dude, I love that idea. I will always love that idea.
Yeah, if you're trying to get in the book, then I would definitely try and get you in the book and try to get you a character, because what I also do is with the character spotlights is you partner up with me, we make the character, I create the design. I'll send you a character sheet card with the character in it, the backstory, the powers, and then you get like a secret file with the IDV.
Dude, that's dope.
And I send that off to you, you know, for it to be framed or whatever you want to do with it.
No, I really like that. And
I can send you some of the stuff, because I've done that for a friend of mine.
Shoot it to me, dude. I love that kind of stuff, and like I love helping promote Kickstarters and that kind of stuff. I've done a lot of Kickstarter promotions. Like I love bringing those guys on and letting them sell their book to people. You know what I'm saying? To sell. It sounds weird, but to sell themselves
right
to the audience, to promote their book, because that's essentially what you're doing, is selling yourself to people, to get them to come and support your comic book. And it still feels weird to say that, but that is exactly what we're doing.
But yeah, I plan on when the book is done, I plan on selling physicals through Kickstarter, either Kickstarter, Indiegogo, you know, whichever. And
I have a problem with Indiegogo's backside, like their back end stuff.
right.
Yeah, I do like Kickstarter a lot more because it seems like it's an easier flow. And the last time I purchased somebody from Indiegogo, I ended up having to go back and pay for shipping on the back end myself through just, sending the money to him to send me the stuff.
Really, I'm thinking of going back to Kickstarter just because a lot of people were talking to me about that problem. But the first time I did Kickstarter, I thought it got funded, but basically it was a lot of scammer money that I was being given.
Yeah, so I think you get that on both sides of the house, where there's an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter. And it's I think it's a lot better now. I don't know when the last time you ran a Kickstarter was.
It was a while back.
Yeah, I think they've gotten a lot better about that. And basically, they lock your money. Like once you put in your support, that money gets locked, basically.
Right.
The only way it doesn't go through is if the funds aren't there.
Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, I plan on getting all the books done first, and then doing a Kickstarter to get you guys the physicals, because I really want to focus on making sure that I have all the rewards on the back end, and that you guys get a finished product as quickly as possible. So that means the minute that the Kickstarter ends, I'm off to USPS to send you your stuff.
Dude, I like that, and I hear this goes both ways. Like I know some guys who, and it depends on the individual too, right? Like a lot of people say, have the money on hand to have the books printed and done and ready to go. Right. And you're only using the Kickstarter basically to fund what you've already done and get yourself the head start for the next issue. But I've also known people on the opposite end of that, to where if they didn't have Kickstarter, the book wasn't getting made, period. And the dream was ended. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I like me personally, the books are getting made regardless. I just want people to enjoy them. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not a money thing for me. And I tell a lot of people that, and they're like, what? I mean, you want to get paid for this? I was like, of course you want to get paid for it, but this is a dream. Like this is
it's a creative outlet just to get, because ADHD is a real thing. Right. And sometimes that ADHD and those other things need a way to, for the person to get stuff out that they keep in. And they just some people just are a bottle of energy. And I think you're just a bottle of energy and ideas that just needs an outlet to express itself. And you've chosen to do comic books and to write stories and bring these heroes to life. And it's dope, dude. I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah, man. So the books are going to get made regardless. I just want to build a community of people. If I could get 10 people always asking me, hitting me up, annoying me, bro, when's the next book? When's the next book? When's the next? I would accept that without any complaint, and I will continue making books.
Dude, that's the ultimate compliment, is it not?
Yeah. When's the next book coming out? Like, I would
if you wouldn't come in on this podcast, I would have been that guy after you had sent me the books. Like if we were, for some reason, I wasn't able to get you on the podcast, or for some time and things happened, I would still be that guy. Like, hey, dude, what's up with number 3?
Right.
How can I get my hands on number 1 and number 2 for real? You know?
And but yeah, man,
I'm a physical media guy. You know, I love having the electric copies of it. I love having the PDFs. I think they're really cool. I can like zoom in really far and see like little details in the work and the art. But it's something about physical media that I will always love.
Right. And we're also working on that as well. Like I'm working with Kablam Printing currently. I don't know if I'm going to continue that, but for now, I'm trying to get it up on their site so people could always go to Kablam Printing to get physicals. And I think I'm also going to go Comics Wellspring and maybe mix them. But I'm working on getting the site right now, and then getting some stuff on hand so I can send out to people. But yeah, I'm really trying to build a community around it. If anybody wants to check out the first 2, please just DM me, because that would be awesome, and I'll send it to you.
I'm telling you, if he's making the offer, DM him. The books are worth the read. And dude, just I wrote out this whole long interview, and we just been sitting here talking like two dudes this almost the entire time. And I love when conversations are this way because it's just two dudes hanging out and talking about what we love about the work. You know what I'm saying? But what is next? When can we expect that number 3 though to start hitting? If whether it's Kickstarter or if it goes up on your Instagram, like, hey, DM me and I will get you the 3rd book and we'll work out. Like, when can we expect number 3?
Okay, so right now we're in the pencil and ink phase with number 3. I'm working on once we get that phase done, then everything's going to go to my man Jeff, who's going to polish it up real nice for us. So you probably going to be able to expect it within the winter of 2026. So that'll most likely be sometime next year. That'll probably be the best time for it, because then I'll be working on putting together all 3, 1, 2, and 3 to get it out to y'all for the people that want the first 3 books as a limited edition.
As like a trade paperback?
Yep, in a hollow cover. So
nice.
Yeah. So I'm really excited.
That's that extra 90s right there, putting that hollow cover. Although I will say, last year, hollow covers came back out of nowhere. That and foils, like they made this huge comeback. Not to the point where it wasn't like the 90s, thankfully, but you were starting to see a lot of really cool hollow covers and foil covers and stuff like that. Thankfully, though, it wasn't to the point like it was in the 90s, because the 90s was off the charts with that. It's like every other comic book had hollow or foil or something.
Right. So that's the plan. The plan is next winter to have the 3rd done. And then hopefully not only will I have the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd episode, but also the 1st episode of my girlfriend's comic, Aegis the Immortal Sister, which I would love to come back on the show to talk to you about.
Dude. So. Pull her up a chair right next to you. And we'll do it again, dude.
For sure.
Hang on, let me. My mind is like, I'm preparing in my head for this winter storm that we're supposed to be getting.
Oh man!
So like,
preparing over here too.
Yeah, you're right there with me, dude. And so like, all my brain cells are going to like, okay, did I remember this, and this, and did I remember to pay this, and this? Right. Lucky Devil Comics, him and his wife, love them to death, great people, but they did, like, she helps him with the comic book, she helps him with some like minor details and like some of the background type of stuff, and develops some of that kind of things. And I interviewed both of them at the same time, because when I first brought them onto the show, she was sitting there, she's like, hey, I'm just going to get up and let y'all talk. I'm like, you played a part in this. What are you doing? Sit your butt back down. We're all going to have a great conversation. We're all going to have a great talk and talk about, the plague, because that's the name of the book.
Right.
And she's like, really? Oh, and her husband's like, yes. So I enjoy that kind of stuff. Like, bring your brother too. Shit. We'll make it a party, man. We'll talk about it. And to me, this is fun.
This book is coming out too.
This ain't a job for me. This is just me talking about some of my favorite things with great people, and putting, people like you in a spotlight to have some time to discuss your book.
That's great.
And I love doing this kind of stuff. Like, shit, this is like, after this kind of week and the kind of weekend we're about to have, this is my highlight.
This is honestly.
Getting to talk to Lloyd last night, who I met just a few months ago through Matt, and talking about his book that's about to come out.
Right.
And then talking to you tonight. I'm like, 2 in a row. I'm going to have a nice relaxing weekend where I edit some videos, get them prepped to go to YouTube and to the podcast platforms, chalk these up, get them out to you and Lloyd. Like, that's a great weekend, dude.
Yeah.
And it's going to be shitty weather anyway. So, but, so we're looking at the winter 2026 for issue 3. I know I'm going to be like one of the first dudes in line to get issue 3, 2, and 1, because I want physical copies, man.
Appreciate it.
And I love digital, I do, but there's something about that physical copy.
Physical book, yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
but so like I'm glad to see it's going to be expanding. Your brother's got a role in it, your girlfriend's got a role in it. That's really dope that it's all about the people you love and
Mm.
them having their stake in this Idolverse as well, which is it's really cool. You mentioned you did have Nemesis waiting in the wings. What
Yep.
else do you have waiting in the wings
Oh well.
besides your girlfriend's and your brother's story? What
Yep.
else do you got?
So I'm working on. So my other friend, he has a vigilante character named Braven, who is more of like a street tier character. You know, raised in Baltimore, uh,
Mm,
newly
that's what that
reformed.
one short story was, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
He's coming. He's coming out with his own book called Braven
that
the
dude
Dog.
had that dog in him.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So his first episode I'm currently working on. I'm also working on a character called Galvarino. There was such a cool Native American story about a Mapuche warrior that got his arms cut off and then he put blades in his forearms and took down conquistadors. And I was like, they had to have made Wolverine from this particular character.
That's some gangster ass shit right there, dude. That's
This,
what's up.
nobody created a character based off of this story. No comic book.
So
I'm
it's
going.
just out there. All right, let me get in. I'm in. I'm in.
So, so I created a character named Galvarino. I'll send you that too. But I'm working on
Yeah.
that story as well. And wow, I felt like it's such the right time. Like it's definitely the right time to do a story like that, especially with our world at current. And I was like, let me put something. Let me put
Hell in a
something.
handbasket, dude. Hell in a handbasket.
Let me put something together that people can rally behind. A cool story, because I'm all about nuance and about real world messaging mixed with putting it in the
Yeah.
Idolverse and creating something fascinating. And yeah, I did that with the Galvarino story, and that's something else that I'm really really proud of. And I actually there's a cool pinup that's on my Facebook page with Galvarino and one of his villains called Comanche that I
I have
put
to
on.
go back and check that one out. Because,
Yes.
like I said, when I'm putting this stuff together, I go back through. I look at the Facebook. I look at Instagram. I try to pull like tidbits of stuff out of everywhere. And if you have a website, that's even better because then I can just go straight to the website
Right.
and start pulling your info off of it, and that just makes life
Which is
easier.
I'm working on trying to design a website for us, to just put all our stuff up there.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I'm doing that. And let me see what else I'm working on. So there are some obscure characters that on this is something I'm working on slow because there are a lot of characters involved. But there was a comic book company made by a bunch of African American creatives way back in the 90s alongside Milestone, and for like a month it was Milestone and Ania Comics. And a lot of the characters like faded into obscurity. They had characters like Zawana, the son of Zulu,
Yeah.
Purge.
It's funny you mentioned that. Lloyd's comic book last night that he's doing, Brother to the Night, is based off a character like that.
Wow. Yeah, so I'm taking all of their I'm taking, except for Purge, because Mr. Roosevelt Pitt, he still uses that character. It's his character.
Yeah.
But all the other curators have seemingly fell off the face of the earth. I've tried to get in contact with them. I've tried to talk to them, but their characters they're just in the wings. They're obscure. And so what I wanted to do was create a graphic novel, basically bringing together all the cool obscure characters that I found. I found Captain Africa, Ebony Warrior, Zwana, son of Zulu, and Heru, the son of Asar. And I brought them together into this graphic novel that I'm doing, called The Land of Ania, where it's basically about saving Africa, basically, but saving the world. But it's based in Africa.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a really cool graphic novel to get together. And
There
then
was a lot of companies in the 90s that kind of they came in swinging and then they were gone.
And then they were gone. And Nia was definitely one of them. They had it was literally they were in like news. They were in the news. They were in newspapers. It was them and Milestone for like a month, and then money came into it, and then they kind of fell off. But I felt
Yeah, it's kind of wild, dude, because especially in the 90s, I remember buying so many different #1 comics from so many different companies.
Mhm.
And then I would be waiting for a #2 to come out, and it would just never,
Yep.
yeah, it just never came. I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, what happened to this character? I want to know what happens to them. Like, I invested in this #1 because A, it was a cool hollow cover,
Right.
and B, these characters were really dope, and they told a really dope story in this first issue,
Mhm.
like how this team came about. I'm like, I need to know where they're going,
Right.
and
Right.
they went there.
And that's how I felt when I found out about Ania, because I found out through Roosevelt Pitt's Purge, and I was like, he was connected to like this whole comic book company that didn't come to be, and I was like, what is Ania? And then I did all this research, and I was like, no. And there's a soft spot in my heart for obscure characters, for characters that could have been something, and I was like, I create comic books. It's just gonna be another project that I'm gonna do at some. So yeah, that's something that I'm writing slowly, and I actually made a cover to go along with it. And I have no problem sending you that to show it.
That's one of those where that's what I loved about the 90s is so many obscure characters came and left, but at the same time you invested into it, especially for like me. I was just getting into comic books, and I had that very brief moment from where I got to enjoy comic books before my life went into a whole nother direction and joined in the military. And I didn't come back around to it until my daughter was like, hey, can we stop at this comic book store? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I realized like Spawn was still being made and a few other characters were still out there. And I was just like, oh, I can get back into this.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing. And now here I am talking to indie comic creators on a Friday afternoon, and I'm like, what's better than this?
Man, it's a great thing. But yeah, I'm working on Galvarino. I'm working on Aegis the Immortal Sister, Land of Ania, and the last project that I'm slowly working on is something that's near and dear to my heart. I made a Black Adam, so I had to make a Captain Marvel.
Dude, that's what's up.
So there was a character that was coming out back when there was this whole battle over Captain Marvel between DC and Marvel. DC created Captain Thunder, and it was supposed to be basically the black version of Captain Marvel, but it never came to be. So when I found that out, I was like, so you guys just abandoned Captain Thunder and did nothing with him? Okay, cool. So now I'm coming out with a Captain Thunder project that I got some pages for too. So there's some pages done for that one. I got a couple of different covers done, and it's a character called Willie Walsett, and he's born and raised in Acostia, DC, and he gets his powers from a wizard called Yith Gamal, and he goes on. And then after that, that's basically where the similarities between Captain Marvel and Captain Thunder cease. Because after that, he goes on this giant spiritual journey in Thundara, which is this land that I created filled with monsters and aliens. And it's like this completely spiritual realm that he has to go into and basically discover how to use his powers. So
that's dope. It's got like a lot of little Dungeons and Dragons undertones into it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the moment you started saying I was like, this sounds like a lot like D&D, man. That's like a whole storyline there. I'm like, that's what's up.
And actually, him and JUPITERMAN are going to cross paths, because JUPITERMAN is going to teach him a little something about how to summon lightning, which he doesn't.
Okay, nice.
So yeah,
nice.
So a cool story,
dude. I love that you built this massive universe that is ever expanding.
Yeah,
and you're not limited in it to like your core little circle, like some comic book companies do. You're like, oh, I found this one character from back in the 60s that only got used once. Let me drag his ass over here into the Idolverse. And he's one of us. He's one of us.
Yeah.
One of us. One of us.
Oh man.
Oh, dude.
So there's one last project that I'm working on that I actually got a couple of pages for as well. It's a Halloween comic that
Dude, those are my favorite. I
yeah.
love Halloween comics.
So
Like
the one,
every September, I start looking forward to those Halloween comics coming
Right.
out.
It's a comic book called Idol Crawlers. I wanted to, so there's a really dope guy on TikTok called Barry Morton. He created his own horror universe called The Crawlers, which is basically like these characters called the Horvidians that like basically live in like this dark sector of like the spirit world. And what I wanted to do is I asked him, I was like, bro, would you mind? Because this is after I read the book Deceased. And
Okay.
I was like, man, this book is so
You're talking
dope.
about the DC deceased, right?
Yeah. Like that
Yeah.
was the dopest Justice League comics I've read.
Dude, that's been my favorite DC of the last 5 years.
Yeah, for sure. And I asked him, I was like, bro, would you mind? Oh no, I read Deceased, and then I watched the Marvel, the new Marvel Zombie series that came out.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that it was a bit lackluster, in my opinion.
It was. The Marvel version of it didn't measure up to DC Deceased.
Right.
At all.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it came close in certain aspects.
Yep.
But DC Deceased,
And
that was another level of darkness, man. Like, if all of DC read like that,
right,
I'd be a DC for life.
No, for real. Honestly, I read like all of them in one day. I was like, dude, this is insane.
It's funny because I read them like as they come out, right?
Right.
But then when I finally had them all, I just had them all out on my desk. And I was just like, all right, let's start with number 1.
Right.
Then I just read them all in one sitting, and I was just like, you know what? Let me come back over here again and give it another. Because it was just that good. Like you didn't like you read it once and you're like, I know I missed something. And you pick it up again and you're like, I did miss stuff. And the more you pick it up and the more you read it, you find little nuances in the story, you find little nuances in the art. You see that characters actually decayed more as the art went along in the story. There was like the continuity of that book was phenomenal.
Right. So the story, so I asked the guy that created his own horror universe, I was like, bro, would you mind if I created a comic book mixing my superhero team with the monsters that you created? He was like, yeah, bro, go ahead. And I was like, oh, you shouldn't have told me that. So my mind is just rolling. And basically there's this deity, this angel that was casted down to save the world from this dark dimension of beings that were rising up. And he went into the dark dimension and chose to be kind of like their keeper. And he was slowly tormented over time. So I was like, oh man. So basically in an alternate realm of the Idolverse, where the One for All team is basically doing their thing, they defeat this being, like this ultimate villain called Grimseed. And the cataclysmic effect of that battle opens up the portals to like every planet in the universe. And the Horvidians spew out, and Leviathan calls out to everybody and slowly turns them into Nightcrawlers.
Oh, and nice.
You get infected by like hearing his song almost. Like he speaks to your depression, he speaks to anger and aggression, and you slowly become demented. And I was like, Hancock was the first one that had to be infected. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna infect my character, see where this goes. So that's another comic book that I'm working on that I'm big into horror. So I was like, yeah, it's definitely
horror comic books are like my number one jam, dude. Like my new comic book day is over there, and like there's Exquisite Corpses in there. Oh, there's some darker stuff from like Boom Studios and Dark Horse. Like anything related to horror or the creepiness and just the general, like the blood, the gore, the stuff that Marvel and DC won't give you in most circumstances, unless it's on like the Vertigo label or the Black label. You know, that's one of the main reasons I love the indie stuff is, oh, that person just cut off that other person's face and then put their face on, you know? And they show it panel by panel by panel by panel. And you're like, that's why I read comic books.
But But yeah, those are all the things. Those are really all the things that I'm working on currently.
Dude, you have a very busy life, and you probably have a normal job as well, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, we those stubborn 9 to 5s.
Hey,
But
gotta fund the
hey,
comics.
dude, exactly. That's how I do what I do. And that's how I continue to bring people like Nathan, Mr. Unchained Unlimited, to the USDN. Before I let you go, man, your final message to readers who are discovering your work tonight. And when you drop your 3rd issue, I want to know about it right away. That way I can share it with all the council members.
I appreciate it.
Tell one last final message to readers discovering your work.
Oh man, when you open JUPITERMAN 1, when you open JUPITERMAN 2, or any Idolverse project, I want you to go back to when you poured that bowl of cereal, to when you sat in front of that TV on Saturday mornings. Remember your childhood. Remember the things that made you dream big. And don't forget, go beyond and look to the sky.
Love it, dude. Tell everybody where they can find you before we get off the air tonight.
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at either Mr. Unchained Unlimited or the Idolverse with a Z. Yeah, that's how you can get all of our updates.
Love it, dude. I want to send a huge thank you to Nathan for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, get more details on what the Idolverse is, and get to know you more and what you have planned for the future. But if you believe in inclusive storytelling, indie creators doing it right, make sure to follow, share, and support JUPITERMAN and the Idolverse. Until next time, the Council of Nerds is adjourned. This has been the United States Department of Nerds, where indie comics come to life. Y'all be safe out there in this crazy weather we are about to get.
Peace.
It's a trap!